Hello and welcome to Tapping Tuesday. My name is Fable, and for the next hour, we are going to engage EFT or tapping together. If this is your first time here, welcome. If it is not your first time here, welcome back. I'm so glad to have this time to spend with you. I'm going to take the first few minutes and just run down how this almost at this week and then almost at this month. Apparently, it's a long day for me. How this hour is going to go today, and then we'll jump right into doing the process. So EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. It's also known as tapping because this is the motion, this is the motion, this is the motion. If you've seen this, that's what we're doing here today. You don't have to have a thorough understanding of it. If you would like to know more about it, we do have a channel here on YouTube where you have hundreds of videos for you to look at. It is EFT Universe here on YouTube. We also have our own website, EFTuniverse.com. If you are feeling uncertain in your practice, you're in the perfect place, you can follow along with me. You'll have it down by the end of this session. If this is something you've been doing for a while, then it's my hope that I could just help you to support a sustainable practice, or maybe a different way to approach something that you haven't thought of yourself. It's one thing that's great about having an EFT community is that all of the different ideas and angles from which everything can be like the key that you need to unlock something that you yourself haven't been able to come up with yet. So all of that to say, the ways that you can participate today are very simple. One, you can just watch. Like that in and of itself is enough for the body to engage on some level. If you would like to do a little bit more than that, follow along with me. I tend to stay in one tapping spot. I'll stay here or I'll stay here. The reason I do that is because this format is unique. Normally, I would follow wherever my client was wanting to tap because I do feel like it's important for you to follow your own body in tapping. So if you're not wanting to go through all the tapping spots, I don't want you to feel forced by me. Also, if I'm staying in one spot and you're like, I really want to be here or I want to stay here longer, I want you to follow your own intuition on that. So follow me. If you want, if vulnerable. Am I back? Do you see me? Hi. Do you hear me? I am working off of a hotspot today. My internet. Yes. Yay. Okay. Whew. I'm so sorry that happened. It might happen again. We're having some weird internet stuff. So let's just pretend like that didn't happen. We're gonna move forward with intention that that's the only time it's gonna happen. And yeah, get to our tapping. Thanks for hanging in there with me. So sorry when this happens. And what's funny is we live in a really high internet area. I don't know why this still happens sometimes. Anyway, all right. If there's anyone who needed more of the introduction that you missed, please let me know. I'm just going to go ahead and go into reading through the chat and getting right into our grounding and into the tap. If you don't have an understanding, if it's your first time here, you don't have an understanding of what's going on, I don't know how much of it was missed in the introduction. Please feel free to ask because I definitely want you to feel like you're involved and have an understanding. Alrighty. Hello, Vic. Feeling incredibly insecure about finding work, relocating, etc. Seems paralyzing. Absolutely, I hear you. That is very overwhelming. And it's hard to find something to ground on because all of it's unknown. So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. Hello in Florida. Hi, Mama Hutch. Hi, Marion. Zarina, hello. Oh, thank you. Hi, Blast Scout. I'm glad that you're here. Hi, Greg. And Vic in California. Okay, and Zarina, odd question. Does anyone else have a situation where tapping would help, but still won't do it for some reason? Yes, it hasn't happened to me for a while. But when I started tapping on some pretty deep stuff, I would literally sit on my hands so that I couldn't make myself tap. And that usually has to do with pushing too hard and not feeling safe, which is a part of pushing too hard. So we can address that. Thank you for bringing it up. Very relatable. Um, and Amanda Jane, tapping stuck trauma. Is that possible? I think I need a little bit more um, explanation of what you're talking about, Amanda. If tapping on stuck trauma, meaning like you've tapped on it before and it's not going away, or it's just something that is just repetitive for you and you can't figure out how to unstick it. Um, I want to be able to really get this in the space of what you're describing. So if you could help me out with a few more words, I'd really appreciate it. Hello, Trisha. Okay, and then that's where everybody says I got frozen. Okay, so I'm skipping past those. Uh, okay, and then still frozen. Tapping. Okay, and okay, now yay, we're back. Okay, not able to do what's best for me. So thank you for speaking up for that too, Mary. Um, technology isn't able to handle the higher vibrations. I've wondered about that too, honestly, myself. Um, okay. Too fast to handle it all. Tapping just gets you focus and manually take over. Extra time this week and not using it productively is so frustrating. Okay, and that's something I want to tap on or touch on, Trisha, because using extra time productively, your body might be screaming, your mind might be screaming for relaxation, for being able to dissociate, to not have to think. And you might actually need that to recharge. But so often, especially because of the way our society is written right now, if we're not taking that extra time to do all of the things that we already don't have time to do in our lives, then we feel like we're wasting it when really we might be actually doing the thing that our bodies need most. So if that little tidbit helps, like give yourself permission if that's where you are. And honestly, sometimes it looks like laying on the floor and crying. And Kira, my son is very psychotic right now. Just me and him and our little apartment. Oh, I said appointment. Um, Sorry to hear that, Kira. Let me know if there's an angle of that would uh, that you would like to address tapping wise that I could maybe include today. I'm glad that you're here. Rachel, I'm feeling overwhelmed with getting settled, purging, and set up at home. Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. I think we actually have another person very similar. So, okay. And Amanda, releasing the trauma in every cell, DNA strand, and telomeres, the body holds the score. Okay. And I love that you brought up that book. There's a lot of things in that have kind of been updated. I'm not going to say disproven because honestly, I think it's just more perspective, a different way to look at the data. So I think there's some good news for you in that. And we will touch on that. Okay. Usha, hi. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here. And Dr. Scott, I have been in EMDR therapy for over a year. Trauma is loosened, self-emotional raw spots. Okay, familiar past patterns. Would like to make some better progress. Okay. I appreciate your suggestion, Mary. It definitely is helpful to have support, especially in people who are trained to know what to do. If you're in need of resources, if anyone here knows of some resources that they could suggest for Kira, that could be helpful. Okay, staying calm, just need a bit of support. Okay, I was being able to use want their help. Okay, yes, therapist. Man, okay. Well, we're here for you. We're glad that you're here. Karen, hello, taking a breath and refueling. All right, so what I feel like I'm hearing a lot for today is a lot of overwhelm, a lot of uncertainty, stuck energy, how to move through that, especially when it's something that may be raw or just big and it's like I can't even approach it because that is overwhelming. And a little bit of self-judgment, and feeling a lot of pressure, a lot of self-pressure. Okay. And Black Scout definitely trying to shift out of a low mood. Okay. Oh, that's awesome, Kira. When I regulate, it helps my son regulate. That makes a lot of sense. And that is a heavy weight to bear. I speak from experience of doing that for other people around me. So, alrighty, let's jump right in with, I want to tap on just overwhelm and safety and giving a foundation to kind of reach for a space of empowerment, because it's really, really important in EFT, but also specifically clinical EFT, which is what we do here on this channel and at EFT Universe. So let's go ahead and get grounded really fast, and then we will get to tapping. So let's take a breath in, let it out. Let's do another breath in, let it out. And we're going to do something. This isn't exactly tapping, it's kind of tapping, but not going through all the protocol. Just lightly tap, but over like your heart. So we're not reaching for our typical acupoints. We're just vibrating on our chest right now. Okay. And if it feels better to you to do it with a closed fist, that just makes it a little bit more distinct along the sternum rather than out across the whole chest. And this is a soft pat. This is like how you would pat someone on the back. Okay, we're just giving a little bit of vibration and sensation into our bodies. It just helps us ground, helps us be a little bit present, helps our brain focus on something. Okay, and let's take another deep breath while we're doing this. And as you let out, drop your hand. And now breathe normally. And now we're just going to do a little bit of stretching in order to become present. Now, if you don't want to stretch, that's fine. If stretching doesn't feel good, I want you to contract. Okay, so if I say stretch your arms up and stretching feels vulnerable, then I want you to squeeze your arms in. Okay, like as comically tight as you can get them. Okay, so let's go ahead and stretch up or curl in, whatever feels good to you. And notice where your fingertips go. You can look up at them if you want, but I want you to feel the energy going all the way from your body up through your arms to your fingertips. Like you could draw energy circles if you wanted to with those fingertips. Feel how far up they're stretching. And relax. And now that same sensation of reaching that energy out of your fingertips, we're going to do that, but with our shoulders, okay? So now flex your shoulders. I want you to feel that energy, but on your shoulders. You do that where you're feeling it out of your shoulders. And relax. And now with your legs, if you're able to stretch your legs, don't hurt yourself if you've got achy joints or whatever, but just stretch the energy in your legs. Stretch them straight. You can curl them up. That's what feels good. Feel that energy go all the way down to your toes, whether you're flexing it out, scrunching it out, or stretching it out. Like you could draw with that energy with your toes. And then relax. Now I want you to think of that right here, like you've got a beam on your heart, okay? So you can sit up straight if you want, but I want you to feel that energy. You're going to push that energy out forward. You can use your arms too if you want. That helps you focus and concentrate. You could put your hands here, wherever where you're able to imagine that coming out. If you're not able to quite get there, it's okay. Just the fact that you're concentrating on this is doing something. This is all a brain exercise, and I promise it's working and you're doing it. And relax. Go ahead and get into a comfy position, whatever your body is asking for. And let's take another breath. And release. And just feel your energy settle in. Notice where it is in your body. Notice where it's coming in contact with wherever you're sitting or laying or standing. Good job. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get to tapping on overwhelm and safety. Okay, I'm going to start here. You tap on whatever spot feels good to you for tapping. Overwhelm. this overwhelm, this overwhelm in my body. Safety, safety for me, wanting safety. Safety for my body, safety for my mind. This overwhelm, that safety, this overwhelm, that safety, that overwhelm, this safety, that overwhelm, this safety. As I begin to tap, I deeply and completely accept myself. I accept myself in this overwhelm. I accept myself in this overwhelm with or without answers. I accept myself with or without safety. I really want safety. I really don't want overwhelm. My options to release overwhelm and receive safety. I deeply and completely accept myself. I wonder, why is safety difficult? Why is it elusive? Why is it something I have to chase? Where did I learn my current definition of safety? I wonder, where did I learn what safety means? Do I believe that safety means that someone is keeping me safe, beyond harm, beyond touch, beyond effect? As I consider my definition of safety, I deeply and completely accept myself. Well, that would be lovely if someone or something could promise my safety, especially within those boundaries. I would feel safe if I knew I couldn't get hurt or surprised, if I knew nothing could reach me. And it would make sense for that to be a definition for a child, for someone who's very dependent on someone else. Maybe that's where I first got that definition. Maybe I also learned in my childhood that it wasn't even true then. But whether or not that definition of safety didn't work out for me even in childhood, I'm not a child right now. And that definition definitely doesn't work. So, does that mean there is no safety? Does that mean my only choices now are survival and fighting and hiding and running? Even if it absolutely feels like those are my choices to try and find safety, I deeply and completely accept myself. It makes sense that I would have those definitions, those options in mind. I wonder, would it be helpful for me to have a different perspective on safety? Because while it would be lovely to have a space where I was beyond any negative experience, I would appreciate knowing how to be safe while experiencing things. Safety. Safety through experience. Okay, well, how would that work? It's a fair question. How does that work with anything? How does safety through experience ever work? Well, if I was learning safety around the kitchen, then I would have an understanding of certain rules, like chopping, using sharp objects, and an understanding of things that are hot, maybe like the stove or the oven or a torch that are used for some things. Okay, so understanding helps. Rules, maybe boundaries, helps to have safety in an experience. Having someone to guide me, answer questions, even a book. I could read a cookbook and still understand safety. Okay. But what else am I trusting? What else am I trusting in that experience? Isn't it true that I'm also trusting myself? I'm trusting my ability, even though I don't have the ability yet. I'm learning how to cook. I don't know how to do it yet. Maybe I don't know how to hold a knife. And maybe it is kind of scary the first time, but I'm trusting myself enough to try. I'm trusting that I have found safe enough circumstances that it's okay. And that even if I try to chop with this very sharp knife and I fail, that even if I have emotions about it, I can try again. Okay, well, that's great for cooking. How does that apply to now? Can I really feel safe using the same principles, feeling safe. Can I feel safe? I wonder, how can I test it to see? Maybe I could write it out just like a recipe book, just like I'm following a cookbook in a kitchen. Whatever it is that I'm trying to do. And then I can look at it from that perspective, following a recipe, trusting myself within the guidelines, the boundaries that I find, and permission to try. Oh no, 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 no. That's not possible. I can't do it that way. That's ridiculous. It won't work. And I just feel scared. Even if, as I consider looking at safety through experience in a different way, I may have some pushback with it. I still choose to hold space because I do want it to feel different. I do want to try something new. And it's okay if that's uncomfortable. And it's okay if I start to try it and I go, nope, not for me. And maybe I do that and then I try it again and I quit again. And maybe that's my cycle for a while. What if I learn to trust myself? What if I learn to hear my own voice? What if I let that be okay? Even if I don't have a good reason at first. Even if it's not what other people have said to me. Even if trusting my own voice still makes me try something that's really hard and makes me nervous. And especially if I listen to my own voice and I try and I don't get it right the first time. Because maybe making it okay for myself, making it okay to have feelings, making it okay to ask questions, making it okay to have help, making it okay to try whatever my try looks like. Maybe that's how I feel safe. Because isn't it true that when I relied on someone else to make me safe, those are the things that they were doing for me? They were setting boundaries, they were looking out for me, they were gathering information, they were making decisions, they were speaking for me. But now I have a voice and I have the best knowledge of my needs. Even if I don't know how to reach them yet, maybe it would be really great to figure out how to trust me. And as I figure that out, I bet overwhelm would immediately be less because I would have boundaries for it. Overwhelm would immediately be less because I would feel confident, confident to put boundaries, confident to have conversations, confident to look for answers. So maybe overwhelm is a way for my body to say, hey, we need to find trust over here. My trust, my own trust, that overwhelm, that very manageable overwhelm. I wonder, is gratitude a part of trust? Yes. No. I don't know. What an interesting question. Why would I ask that? Well, isn't it true that when I feel trust, when I feel like someone has stood up for me, spoken up for me, made a choice that was helpful for me, I feel gratitude? Yeah, of course, I'm grateful to that person. Oh, well then, as I learn to trust and stand up for myself, I also require that I feel gratitude for that and allow myself to feel really good for all of the efforts that I am making. And I give myself permission to feel safe in recognition because I am trying, I am reaching, I do want it. And I agree to be proud of myself for that. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, pause on tapping, take a deep breath. Nicely done. Now, as you sit here, just for one moment, think back to when we first said trust and overwhelm and how that felt for you. And how does it feel for you now as you think of trust, my trust, and that overwhelm? Does it feel different? Do you feel more confidence and trust? Do you feel more open to both concepts? Do they feel maybe a little more equal, whereas trust felt itty bitty and overwhelm felt really big? And if you were yawning, sighing, crying, giggling, if you feel energy, if you feel tired, all of those are signs that your subconscious brain was listening, agreed with what you were tapping on, and is now working to integrate that even though you're no longer tapping. So, really good job. Alrighty, and let's keep going so we can get in another good tap. I know I mentioned stuff, but I got so lost in and what we were doing there that I don't remember what else. So I've got to scroll through. Oh yeah, stuck trauma. That was the other thing. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump right into that without reading the comments. So sorry if you wrote something that you were wanting me to look at. I really want to get through this concept, and it's another biggie. So I want to give us plenty of time. Let's just tap through all the spots real fast. I kind of want to clear the energy of that. That was big. It was potentially deep. So we're not gonna have a specific theme. We're just tapping. Don't know why. My mouth sometimes. We're just tapping through all of the spots. Just going through. Let's go again. Kind of clearing the slate. Letting that fall back into the subconscious brain to continue to filter through, build those connections. All right, let's take a breath. Now let's go into it. Okay, so stuck trauma. If these words do not fit for you, think of something else that you feel may be a little bit sticky in your life. And it could be something that feels inevitable. If it's not something that you've tapped on a lot or thought a lot about, but you feel like, oh, because I'm getting older, or oh, because of the season I'm in right now, or oh, because of my job, or oh, anything along that line, because of this, then that. Could be something that tapping on this could offer you a happier perspective that you could then ground in and move forward on. As far as if you are focusing in on stuck trauma, if it feels really, really big, I want you to use a technique called sneaking up on the pain. Sneaking up on the pain. Or maybe just be sneaking up, and I'm mixing the names of several techniques. That's very possible. Sneaking up. What it is you, instead of going into thinking about it, you say, I'm not going to think about it. But if I were to think about this sticky place, then I would consider this. I would say that. But keeping that, if I were to think about it, is important because then your brain isn't going to dive into all those details, but still address it. So, throwing that if in there can be really important. As I consider this space where I am so stuck, and it's really, really hard, and it's really a lot, and I'm really tired of it, but I don't know my way out of it yet. I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself, even though right now I feel really stuck. And there are a lot of negative things happening because of that. I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself, even though right now I'm stuck and I don't want to be. I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself. And I give myself permission to set aside all of the feelings that I have about this and open up looking at things only through curiosity. I give myself permission to feel a little bit lighter about this, to look at this like a detective, even like it's a book that I'm reading or a game that I'm playing. I'm looking at the strategy, the facts, the mystery. Even if doing this and considering everything would probably feel inappropriate, I give myself permission to just give this a try, to ask questions and to think without feeling all of the heaviness. I can pick that up in a minute. Right now, I choose to be curious. I wonder, what is my definition of stuck? What does it mean when something is stuck? When I am stuck? When it is stuck? What is stuck? Does it mean something that's supposed to move has become immovable? Does it mean that I have tried to move it and I am overpowered by it. It is more stuck than I have the ability to mobilize it. Is it difficult to pinpoint? It's stuck because I can't seem to get a hold of it. If I just could get a hold of it, then I bet I could move it. But I just can't seem to find it. Can't get enough of a grip on it. As I explore these definitions and any others that have popped up in my mind of what I think about stuck, I continue to be curious. I wonder, in what ways does stuck happen? Because if it's something that's supposed to be moving, then doesn't that mean that typically there's a mechanism to help it move? So therefore, getting stuck means something's off, something's broken, something's wrong. So that being stuck, what do I consider that to be? Is it buried? Is it frozen? Is it a place to hide? Is it a place to stand? Is it a place to be strong? Is it a place to fight against? Is it a place to be seen? To be heard? To be cared for? I wonder, what mechanism is in the way that's keeping this stuck? As I explore what is causing this to be so sticky, I deeply and completely accept myself. As I examine this stuck trauma, it's possible I know exactly what's keeping it stuck. And it's possible I have no idea. I've looked and I've looked and I've tried, and I haven't found it yet. Whether or not I'm able to clearly identify why this is stuck, I wonder, is there a way for me to release it anyway? Do I need to find it? Do I need to overpower it? Do I need to clear it out? Do I need to clearly define everything? Absolutely, I do. Maybe I don't. No, I do. I absolutely do. And you know why? Because it's trauma. Because that was hard and it's still hard. And I deserve that moment of satisfaction of going, aha, I found you and I dug you out and I'm going to be the one and I'm going to retake and I'm going to overpower and I'm going to triumph. And I want my moment. Even if, as I wonder about releasing this stuck trauma, I feel some or all of this pushback, and others, I continue to hold space and be curious. I wonder, do I feel like releasing this is the same as giving permission, as washing it under, washing it away, brushing it away, saying it doesn't matter? Does it feel like I'm invalidating everything that this has been if all I get to do is release it? Because isn't it true that I deserve more than that? I deserve more than that for all that this has been. Is that what's standing in my way? As I consider this aspect, I deeply and completely accept myself. Absolutely, I deserve my moment of triumph. Absolutely, I deserve to be heard and validated. I deserve for things to be made better. I deserve reparations. But I wonder, where am I expecting those to come from? Am I waiting for something that I can't promise? Am I hoping for something that I can't control? Yes. No. I don't know. Oh, this is confusing. There's so many aspects to think about with this. Healing is hard, and this feels messy. How do I do this? Even if, as I continue to consider what is stuck, it just feels murky and confusing, I still choose just a little while longer to be curious. What if I didn't make them the same thing? What if I separated out my vindication from my healing? What if they're not the same thing at all? What if I do get to heal? What if I do get to release this and move on and be better and feel better and just put that vindication up on a shelf? And maybe I'll get some sort of apology or understanding or insight from anyone else that I may be hoping for. And maybe there's some things even from myself that I could circle back around on. But what if I didn't have to do it all right now? What if my healing isn't the finish line? What if this block is because of where I was placing things? I give myself permission to let my healing be about my healing. And every other emotion that I have absolutely every right to feel be about something else. Because I can heal. I can heal and I can think about forgiveness. I can heal and I can think about connection. I can heal and I can work on whatever else is attached. It does not have to be a bump in this road. This is my body. It's my mind. It's my experience. And I get to choose. I get to choose what stands between me and healing. And what if I choose it's nothing? Well, yeah, that's nice to say. That's great. But what does that even mean? How does nothing stand in between me and healing? Okay, fair question. Maybe that's my new perspective. Maybe that means it becomes my new motto so that every day or whenever I feel like I'm ready to focus on it, I can say, all right, self, nothing is between us and healing. So, what steps do we want to do today? What gifts do we want to give ourselves off the table? Oh, today, I want to unwrap crying. I really feel like I could use the gift of crying today. And that's really going to help with my healing. Great. Let's go cry. Today, I feel like I need to laugh. I'm going to unwrap the gift of laughing. I'm going to find something that's just going to make me really cackle. Perfect. Today, I'm angry. Today's the day I'm going to pump this anger out of my body. Great. Let's unwrap anger and go punch a bag or scream off the mountaintop or whatever way I get to express that. But there's nothing in my way anymore. I don't have to wait on anything else. Resolve it? Maybe, but not in my way. And as I allow myself to choose this, I give myself permission for it to look like whatever it gets to look like. Maybe it'll be messy and shots in the dark. That's fine. Maybe this is brilliant and I feel so inspired and now I'm going to journal and I'm going to make it really linear. Great. Maybe I just follow my intuition and whenever my heart speaks it, I take care of it. Perfect. Whatever way I approach it, I get to have it because nothing is in my way. This stuck trauma. Nothing in my way. This stuck trauma. Not stuck. My permission. My permission to move. Whether it's moving forward or shoving it aside. My movement. My choice. My ability. And as I allow myself to explore what this means to me and how this looks for me moving forward, I deeply and completely accept myself. Pause tapping and take a breath. Take just a moment and feel into where you are. Think about how you felt when we very first started tapping on it and how you feel now. And if you were yawning, sighing, crying, laughing, taking deep breaths, feeling sleepy, feeling energized, feeling your temperature change, getting thirsty, needing to go to the bathroom, all of those are signs of movement that your brain has agreed with what you were tapping on and is now structuring that even though you're no longer tapping. Really good job. Alrighty, we have just a few more seconds. I'm just going to take a quick glance so that no one feels left on a limb. If there were any limbs written in here. Can the release be the victory? Absolutely. Because that's the trauma is a grasp, right? The very way that trauma is described is when the body is stuck in a survival mode when survival mode isn't needed anymore. So releasing that survival mode allows your brain to say, oh, that's over. That's in the past. And it literally changes the way that your emotions respond to it. So absolutely the release is the victory. Okay, and now we're at time, but I'm gonna do just a quick, we'll do like a minute and a half. If you wanna do a closing tap with me, please do. As this session comes to an end, wow, it's been a deep one. I've addressed some big themes and I have felt some feelings. And maybe I want to keep pondering it. Maybe I'm ready to let this kind of simmer on its own. Whatever it is that I feel like doing next, I congratulate myself on what I just did. That was so cool. That was amazing. And I really appreciate my mind and my body working together so that I can get closer and closer and closer to what is most true for who I am. And as I go throughout the rest of this day, I give myself permission to continue to feel this really great feeling that I've been able to find. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, pause and take a breath. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your suggestions and your insights. I mean, truly, the wonderful moments that we have together every week could not happen if you weren't here and speaking up for yourselves and speaking up for each other. Thank you so much for how you create this community. I feel so much gratitude and so much love for you. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope I get to see you next Tuesday, but if not, there will always be a recording. Have a wonderful time. Send me an email if you need something. I will post a video on Friday, and I love you very much. Mwah. See you soon.